Yeah, we're getting strapped up, boys.
What are we doing, man?
So this is Josiah's new pro car Corvette, and if I can show you. Oh, there's
it goes all underneath.
And we're bringing it in to do some development on it. And I don't know what else.
That's all.
That's all. Oh, Jack.
What's up, man?
Man, what's up with the snow?
It's kind of dissipating a bit.
I think the tarp's under the wheel on this.
It's a good thing there's no motor in it, so it's gonna behave as if it's a monster truck and just
It's gonna slide over the snow.
Well, not without doing some damage, probably.
Big
That's
damage.
a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage.
Yoink.
Is there a wheel on it?
Yes.
Okay. That's gonna be thick.
Yeah. Yeah, a little more, a little more. Yeah, you're pulling it. You're, pulling it now. Keep going. Yep. Keep going.
Oh.
What are we doing?
Not quite a Corvette guy yet. We need the front and rear subframes scanned, and we're gonna have to try and fit our transmission in there, which we're gonna have to cut some stuff. And we need to strip this thing completely, like the AC lines, the booster, all this junk that we don't need anymore.
So this is a lot of work for Kyle to do on the Corvette.
Oh, like there's actually an unlimited amount. It's just what's priority, but we'll get you on this while I'm designing for the next 2 months.
Yeah.
So this better be done in 2 months.
Oh, for sure.
We're gonna put the grind.
There's a cage that you need to put in too.
Okay.
You can do cage.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Confidence. Alright, I'll pull it forward more. Right there.
What's up? You gotta check this out.
What?
Keep filming.
Okay.
So this is why you see those YouTube videos of Corvettes doing backflips off lifts.
Okay, but it doesn't have a motor in it.
I know, but that's the only way to lift them, because the jack points are so narrow on the car that it's just so tippy. So it's like, do I go under this thing or what? All right, everybody, we got the dash out of the Corvette, and we got all the wiring stripped, and we got all the HVAC stuff out. That was a big job in and of itself. The Corvette, the interior does not want to come apart as easily as regular cars. Like if this was an S14, this would be done in a couple minutes. This Corvette took like the whole day to take the inside out, but as you can see, it's fully stripped, looking good. Yeah, ready for a cage. We're gonna put a sweet Rob Parsons cage kit in it, and it's gonna be rad. What else are we gonna do? We're gonna put steering column back in it. We're gonna make some seat mounts. Josiah has some ideas for seat brackets for Corvette. Josiah has some good ideas for seat brackets, because I guess the problem that we've been having with Corvettes is that the seats don't sit low enough. And yeah, it looks pretty simple. Sweet little aluminum floors, and yeah, steel frame, fiberglass sled up in the old Canada. So, okay, we got both two subframes out, and we got them scanned up so we can make them more parts at STS Fab, more suspension parts for the Corvette chassis, make it more competitive than it already is. And we even have some ideas for the control arms. So you road racing guys, you drag racing guys that like to run stock angle, stock control arms, we're gonna have ideas with spherical bearings in the stock control arms to get rid of all that play that you get under, or all that deflection you get under braking and acceleration. So that's going to be rad. So I'm going to remove some of the sound deadening that the previous owner put in, the Dynamat stuff. We're going to strip the doors. We're going to strip the rear end of all its wiring too. Check out the wiring. This got to weigh like 50, 60 pounds. You gotta think, like, wiring is not too much in a car, but like, you gotta think this is full of copper, and like copper is a heavy ass metal, and
Copper's up right now. We get some good money for it.
this car has a lot of wiring. It's pretty new. It has freaking OnStar. Check it out, all those bumps, beep boots. There's a ton of wiring. It's a pretty new car. It's a nice car. Felt kind of bad stripping it, but should be good. Should be a sweet race car. But somebody lost the key to the hatch, so I can't take out the wiring to the taillights and stuff. But that's no big deal. We'll find the key and we'll take all the wires out. And yeah, it's coming along great. What we're doing today is we're going to the other shop where Josiah's S14 is, the pro level S14, and we're gonna take the winner's quick change diff GSR 4-speed dog box and the seat, and we're gonna mock it up in the Corvette. So I'm just gonna grab it out of this other shop here, and yeah, we're gonna go in there. Let's check it out. It's all torn apart. As you guys saw probably in the other videos, the motor got out for a refresh at FabMac Industries. We're gonna take this seat out, put it in the Corvette, take this transmission out. It's already dropped and out of the car. And where's the quick change at? The winner's still in the car here. There it is. We gotta take that out. We're gonna scan it. That's my favorite word to say, scan it. And do a virtual mock-up of it on the Corvette subframe. It's a lot different from this S14 subframe, from which you guys are probably aware of. But yeah, just a little sneak peek of Josiah's setup here. All the cool custom FDF parts under here. So we got the diff out. It's right above my head. Wasn't too bad. A couple bolts. Here it is on the ground. Winner's quick change, 10-inch rear end with some beefy axles. These things are heavy, but yeah, got it out of the car, ready to go into the Corvette.
Welcome back to Boss Man's Vlog. It's been a while. I've been busy since we got the new mechanic, Kyle. You guys have seen him a few times. I've just been, you know, grinding on designing kits and working on the stuff that makes you happy. So I'm gonna go over the Corvette and how we're making out with that and all the updates going on with it. I'm doing a lot of stuff with it. Right behind me, actually, we've got the subframes scanned. I've got them in the computer. I did a bunch of design work on them. You're gonna see that in this video where I mounted a winner's quick change in the rear. We scanned the transmission. We're gonna stuff it into the tunnel. Kyle's been doing some cutting and grinding because a Corvette conventionally has a rear transmission, and for the sake of simplicity, matching my other pro car, the S14, with parts, so we're using the same transmission, the same rear end, the same engine, everything is going to be interchangeable for us to have a good spares setup. So, and like changing clutches and servicing is just easier with a front mount transmission and a standard rear diff. So coming out here, the car on the hoist is looking quite bare. We cut some parts of the transmission to clear the sides. There was some gussets here. We cut the top to clear the top mount shifter, and there's a little box where the shifter linkage goes into that we needed to cut. Kyle has scanned this entire area. He's scanned this for designing a firewall, and he's scanned all of this. So I designed a seat bracket because I'm super tall and we needed to do that. And then we're also going to make that a sellable product. And otherwise we've just been stripping it and preparing it for a roll cage as well. Taking the Corvette apart like this really shows you how well engineered and built this car was specifically for racing. It's incredibly light, it's incredibly strong, it's been built extremely well with a chassis frame, gusseting components of the car. Everything weight distribution wise is really well suited. Like the gas tank, we're actually going to leave the factory gas tank in its position. Being this low and centered in the car is a brilliant location for us. Plus we don't need to take up all the space in the rear with a fuel cell. We can just use the rear to mount a rear rad back here and keep the fuel tanks where they are, and it's going to save us a bunch of money too. So it's a big win. The front setup is really cool. We're going to be doing some really interesting things with the header design for the engine. We're going to move the engine back an inch, where's my transmission? Here's my transmission. Because we run a reverse mount starter, it means the starter's on the back. Cam, you're being super loud.
I'll get my quiet hammer.
This transmission uses a reverse mount bell housing, which has the starter on the back. That's essentially what reverse mount means. And it means that the bell housing is extremely small, and it's going to give us a chance to push the motor back into the tunnel. Not much, like 25 mil, 30 mil, an inch, maybe an inch and a bit. Which is going to allow us to move the steering rack back, which is really important on this car. I don't think anyone's done it. I've seen some people try to run offset rack spacers, which just blows the rack like instantly. So we're not going to do that. But this is a G-Force GSR 4-speed. It's actually quite small, and it does fit in the tunnel now, just with a couple things cut. So we're going to make mounts for that transmission to hold it up. I was hoping Kyle was going to be here so we could talk to him, but anyways, this is the seat that we're using to test fit in the Corvette. Because I'm so tall, we're able to design a good set of seat brackets that is going to make me not have a helmet, you know, sticking out of the roof. So anyways, that's it for now. You guys are going to watch me do some stuff on the computer, show you what I designed over the weekend. I'm ready whenever you are, Jack.
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, this weekend I was working on some things for the Pro cars, so the Corvette and the S14. And some exciting stuff for the Corvette was making the front mount transmission fit and work in the car, and then also making a winner's quick change fit and work in the rear subframe. So the first things that I did was scan the rear subframe, scan the winner's quick change, we scanned the car, and a bunch of different things about that. After doing that, I then create entities, make solid models within the parts, and then I bring them into my computer, mesh the two together, and then design mounts that I can use to bolt a winner's quick change into the subframe easily. The one thing that was of concern, but it's not of a concern after I checked all the dimensions on the car, and that was the pinion angle, basically the inclination of the drive shaft for the transmission going into the diff. Whenever you go to a winner's quick change, normal diffs have the input right in the middle of the diff, but a winner's quick change has the input offset. This is because a winner's quick change has a shaft that runs under the crown, goes up through two gear sets. Those two gear sets are how you change the ratio of the diff, and then the pinion actually is on the back of the diff and the crown's like this. So that's why the input's so low, and when you have a winner's quick change, it's always gonna lower the drive shaft. But measuring the angles and getting everything scanned in there, it's like a 1 degree angle, and it's extremely fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it at all. So that was the only concern, and everything turned out to work really, really nicely actually. After, you know, a couple of attempts and blowing through ideas on where to go to the subframe, how to mount it, because the subframe's aluminum. Aluminum reacts a lot different to fatigue and to wear and everything else. You have to be a lot more cautious of where you're bolting things to and what you're doing and how much material you're removing. So with all that in mind, I made a really solid setup using alloy steel for the majority of the mounts. We don't have to cut too much of the subframe, and it's going to be a direct bolt-in utilizing holes that are already there on the subframe. But we're going to cut it probably this week and even install it. Like, why not? Not too many people are going to be doing this to Corvettes, but once we make like mounts for the transmission, video on us doing everything, mounts for the winner's quick change, it's actually like all the challenges that you would have in doing it are now simple. So the only things you would need to get is a drive shaft, which race cars are generally custom drive shafts anyways, due to the drivetrain swap when we're going to better transmissions, and rear axles to go from the winners to the Corvette wheel bearing, which on a pro level you're going to be ordering those anyways, which are easy to order. Length, just hit up drive shaft shop, tell them what size, what length you want, the hubs you're using, and obviously it's with a quick change and they'll make it up for you, no problem. So this is what we got. Red is obviously the winner's quick change, the gray is the Corvette subframe, and what I did was centered the winner's quick change on the subframe using like these entities. Basically I just found the middle of the subframe by using reference points. The subframe is symmetrical, so you can grab geometry from this side and then divide it by 2, and that's going to give you the middle. So the winner's quick change is right in the middle, and you can see we have these mounts that I've designed that are easy to build. You can see they line up with tabs, and then this one also has tabs going into this plate. Underneath we have a large washer, an M14 bolt going into it, and I don't have the washer on this side, so you can kind of see there's actually quite a good size hole in the subframe here. So we're gonna have a spacer with a large washer that's gonna take up this area so that it can't be crushed. And basically these mounts locate on the winners, and then they locate on the subframe, and they hold it right in the middle, right where we want it. And then coming around to the front, we've got the factory diff mounts here, which were actually slots, but I made the holes at the edge of each slot so that there is no movement back and forth. And then this plate's just going to bolt on underneath the subframe and then locate the front of the diff using this plate. And then you're like, oh, well, maybe you're making it too low. You might not want to mount something on the bottom, but it's fine, because if you look at right from a side view, the lowest point of the subframe is actually the rear. This used to be where the spring was, the leaf spring. This is actually far lower than the front, and then you also have the rear of the subframe that's also lower. So this isn't even the lowest point, and we could even go thicker. I could make that lower plate aluminum if we wanted to be conscious of weight, but these parts are actually quite light because of their strength and these large cutouts. They don't weigh much. I don't think you could beat the weight of it with aluminum. You'd probably be able to match it, but this would be stronger. So yeah, that's what I did. We are gonna have to remove some material here. I'm gonna make this plate kind of reference these lines, and then we'll have it as a PDF file so that we can print it, cut it out of paper, and then just kind of like line it up, and you'll be able to mark these edges with a marker like so. Cut it and it's gonna clear. You can kind of see where the front's gonna interfere too, so we'll do the same thing. We'll make a PDF plate, and I'll tell you where to cut, so you can just line it up, draw a marker, cut it. These two sides are going to be constrained to the diff, and the diff is super solid, so it's actually going to brace and reinforce the subframe at the same time, even though you are removing some material. And I did do something else, which I'll pull up on this screen. These are the cut files. So these are all the parts, but in like a laser cut or water jet cut form. This plate, actually here, this wouldn't be FD legal, but this would be legal for pretty much anything else. And if you can't use it in FD, you could just unbolt it. But I'm gonna use this plate and actually bolt it on the back of here. It spans the whole width of this, and you just drill and bolt holes through these ribs, put nuts and washers on the back, and it's gonna act as if this rib was still there. It's just gonna fill it in with steel. It's important because this is aluminum to do whatever you can to maintain its integrity. So yeah, that's what I did on the weekend. The next thing is to work on the GSR and making a transmission mount for that, because that'll have to be somewhat custom. The whole transmission tunnel basically was a torque tube, so we're gonna have to determine where we can pick up on and go to for mounting the transmission. I don't think it's gonna be that difficult. I haven't looked at it completely yet, but we still need to bolt like a dummy block to the transmission and really fit it in there with the front subframe. So that's what's coming up next. We got to scan some more things. Everything that I'm doing now with the Corvette is definitely going to tailor towards a much higher level build, like a way more involved build than just your run-of-the-mill. Do this, throw an angle kit on, get coilovers, bucket seat and steering wheel, handbrake, Corvette's good to go. Which it really is. Like, a lot of people spend a lot more time making like an S chassis or a 350, even close to comparable with a Corvette, doing far more mods. And a Corvette is literally that simple. You could even skip the bucket seat and steering wheel like I have done for the last year. But I'm definitely gonna get one for this year, and that's why I'm making the seat brackets. And my legs are so long and the steering wheel's so far away, I need a deep dish steering wheel as well to bring that closer to the body. So yeah, as I make improvements to my own Corvette, everybody gets to reap the benefits of the time that I put in. So it was long, that was long. Appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around if you're still here. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Your viewership is important to this channel and to our business, to everything. And there's lots to learn too. Like, not that I know everything, but in this field, because I do it every day, definitely know a decent amount. So thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.